What's up guys, it's your boy Rabnut, and today I'm going to be showing you how to build this medieval style house inside of Minecraft, giving you a few tips on how to make your own, how to plan it out, how to give it lots of different scales and different sort of features, and just giving you some general tips on how to make this medieval / Tudor looking house. So if you like the video, make sure you like and subscribe, and make sure to watch till the end. So before we actually start building the build, we're going to have a quick look at some sort of like textures and other things you'll probably need to know before you build something like this. So let's get right into it, guys. So before we actually get into the build, we're just going to have a quick look at some scale for our building and some pallets. So obviously, first of all, we have the sort of like scales. I normally plan mine out as having like a main rectangle and then adding on some sort of like extra bits coming off the sides, but I'll show you that in a minute. So I have three sizes here. So the first one is small, which is a 9x7 rectangle. So this is like pretty small, but obviously for the Tudor style house, there's sort of like an overhang, which we'll have a closer look at over there. This is the medium, which I'll be building. So as you can see, this is a 13x9 rectangle, and it looks pretty good, I think. Obviously, there's quite a bit of room in this main square, even without the overhangs on it. This is the large, which is 17x11. So as you can see, this is very large. You can definitely fit a lot of stuff inside here. I think it looks pretty good. This is just sort of like how the overhangs work, just so you can kind of see it. So obviously this is sort of like the main sort of like inner square, which will be at the base of the building. What we then have is this grey wool layer here. So that's sort of just like the overhang on the house, because it sort of like goes out another block from this sort of like inner circle, and this is just the outline for the roof in the dark grey wool. So these are the sizes. Obviously you can just sort of like edit them however you want. And yeah, so let's quickly go and have a look at some palette. Right then, so these are just some sort of like palette ideas for us to have a look at. Obviously these are just 3 ideas I came up with. Obviously there are many more you could easily use, but these are just the ones I chose, just so you could have a good idea of what blocks you could use. So for one I'm going to be using is this one. So as you can see, it's got a cobblestone and andesite base, and then at the top the sort of like beams are made out of the dark oak, and it's got some smooth sandstone and birch wood in the walls. The sort of like outline for the roof and many of the sort of like shapes on here are made out of the dark oak wood, of course, but on the actual roof itself, the inner bit, it is made out of brick. So yeah, this is just a general good one to use. It's pretty simple, and it's just something that you'd expect to find in a sort of medieval Tudor setting. Okay, next we have the sort of acacia style one. So at the bottom here, as you can see, we've got some terracotta with bricks, and the main outlines here are made out of spruce, with obviously the stripped spruce wood here and some signs just going around. The outline is as well made out of the spruce wood with some buttons, and the inner sort of like roof part is made out of black stone bricks. So this is also a pretty decent one. Obviously you can use this sort of granite style at the bottom, and I think it looks pretty cool. And that is just a good, again, just showcase of what you... This is the final one, so this is sort of like a oaky sort of style. So as you can see in this part, all we've got is the white concrete with some diorite in the walls, mixed in with some polished diorite on sort of these corner bits. It uses spruce wood to sort of like outline this bottom bit here to like give it the sort of like outhang a little bit of a sort of like definition. We're using oak wood for the sort of like pillars along here, and as you can see we're using buttons for some details with oak trapdoors underneath here. The outline of the roof is made out of stone brick stairs and slabs and stuff like that, but the inner bit is made out of dark prismarine. This is just a good block to look at, really. I think it looks really cool. So those are the 3 ideas I came up with quickly. Obviously there are lots more. You could probably just mix and match these ones in general. So you could obviously have a sort of like stony base there mixed in with the top bit of that part, and it just sort of shows off a few of the details we'll be using. So now I'm just going to show you a quick floor plan of what I'm building, and then we're going to get right into giving a showcase of how I built up the structure. Right then guys, so as you can see, we have now planned out what our building is going to look like. So as you can see, we've got this main brown square in the middle, and that's sort of like the 13 by 9 square, I believe, which we were doing in the first place. We have this sort of like green part on here, which is 3 by 5 when it connects to the wall. So as you can see, this sort of like the third bit is connected to the actual wall, sort of like IKEA furniture. I have talked about this in a past video, and I'll probably do a specific video about planning out a building in the future. So yeah, as you can see here, we've got a somewhat of like an overhang part. So this is going to be like a bit, sort of like an arch which you can walk through, as you can see. So this is just sort of like where it's going to connect to that. We've got another overhang on the back here, and we have also got this like larger blue part here, which as you can see is a 5 by 7 from the wall. So that's sort of what we're going to be building. Obviously there are going to be different layers to it and stuff. So yeah, oh, I'm invisible. Okay, nice. Okay, right then, so let's get right into it. Right then guys, so right now I'm just going to be giving you a quick look at how I'm building this all up. Starting with this wall here. So as you can see at the top of the screen, I'm just giving you a tutorial for the later parts. So as you can see, the base, the sort of like stone base, that is 4 blocks tall, and it's got these andesite blocks in the corners. And then as you can see, we're adding this sort of bit now, but we're going to remove that later and just have it sort of go up, as you can see in the video. So it's directly on top of it, there's a sort of like layer of dark oak wood, just like as you can see now. So there's a layer of dark oak wood, you build up from that layer of dark oak wood 4 blocks, and then connect from at the top from that bit. So there should be a sort of 3 by 3 square in the center there, and that's pretty cool. Next, as you can see, we're just building this all along. We lowered that bit, connecting it with a sort of archway, and on the back we will see in a minute that there is a sort of like overhang there. So now we're just adding some A-frames to show where the roofs are going to go, and now we are finally adding the final sort of like roof of this. So as you can see, we added a layer of jungle wood, and then so we put some slabs and stairs and trapdoors, just going in a sort of pattern around it to hold it up. We built this up 5 blocks from the stair, so we have a 4 block tall sort of like inner bit as we've connected the top bit. And now we're just adding the large A-frame to the top. So, as you can see, we're trying to split up this white bit as much as possible, as we don't want too much of that, as it does look nice. But to make it look sort of like more poor and woody, we are trying to split it up a bit. So now we're just adding in this outline of the dark oak wood. I think that looks pretty cool. But now we are going to be adding in the brick stairs and stuff along there. So, as you can see, the way we are doing this is mixing in some brick stairs and blocks, and we're just alternating these to sort of create more of a tiled pattern. So there's sort of like a bit of an overhang, and I think it looks pretty cool. Obviously that isn't very safe for survival because mobs can spawn on those, but there are definitely ways around that. So as you can see, on the top of the bit, sort of like the roof, we are adding in some sort of like interesting details. So on the ends, as you can see, there are some sort of like dark oak stairs, sort of overhangings facing downwards, and along the top of the sort of like brick area of the roof, there is just a sort of like block to stair sort of pattern going on. So as you can see, we just built up some more roofs going along, and now we're adding in the sort of like tower sort of overhang bits, hang something up on some chains. So that's just using some dark oak wood to go along and then fixing it to like the rest of the building using some stairs to sort of like connect it. Now we're doing some sort of like dormer windows, so as you can see we're just building those bits up, just connecting them into the roof, doing the same sort of A-frame technique as we were doing earlier, just connecting it together, and I think it looks pretty cool. So as you can see, we're just doing all of that. On the walls we have been adding some sort of like other pillars, just sort of like going along it, as this just sort of makes it all stand out and breaks up the white, as it is quite overbearing. Now we're adding a sort of another sort of like wooden support pillar going out, and I think now we are just mixing in some more details. So now we're adding in the windows. We've got these big dormer windows at the front, which probably aren't really very realistic, but I think they look good. So we're adding in all of these windows here, just so we know what's going on. As you can see, they look pretty good. I used normal glass for this, however you could obviously use fences or a different colour of glass, but I think the normal glass just works best for this sort of building at the moment. So now we're just adding in some more sort of like roof overhangs to make it look a bit more sort of like busy and confusing in a way. And we're adding in some chains on this overhang bit and just creating a little area for the plants to sort of like grow on. So after this we are going to start adding in texture to the walls. So with the smooth sandstone walls we are going to be mixing in some birch planks and some sand, just to make it a little bit less flat and a bit more sort of like rickety and weathered. At the bottom we are going to be mixing in with the cobblestone some stone, andesite, and what other blocks? What is it? Mossy cobblestone. So they will be looking pretty good. You can kind of see some texture there. Now we're going down here just to have a look at the texture going on at the bottom here. And as you can see, it's looking pretty good. So obviously this is looking pretty much finished, but we're just going to add in some small extra details. So as you can see there, we're just adding in some sort of like trapdoors and signs just going along the bottom of the sort of like overhang. So as you can see, we're just putting the trapdoors on the sort of like bottom of the pillars, and then putting some signs going along the bottom of that block. This just sort of adds in some more wood and busies up the wall a bit, as it was looking a little bit, again, flat, white, and we don't want, we want it to look very sort of like ruined, well not ruined, but sort of like decrepit. So let's have a first person look around. So as you can see, the house is pretty much finished, and if we turn around we can see that it is pretty confusing and pretty big. So I've probably mentioned all of the features in the time lapse, but as you can see, it's got this cool bay window at the front, just normal glass. It's got plenty of different blocks mixed in with the walls, like the sand and the birch. Signs on the corners to make it have a little bit more depth, as you can see. So that's like two or three sort of like pixels going along there. It's got these sort of like things going on the bottom of the walls that just make it sort of look like poles are going along it, just like wood to hold it together. It's got plenty of like types of roofs and stuff sort of like that. We've got loads of leaves. We've got sort of like cranes, almost sort of like holders that are attached to the building and hold things like flowers and like lanterns and stuff. So yeah, on the inside I haven't really done that much. I've just added light really, but if we look inside you can see we've got a pretty decent amount of room. So we've got all of like this area on the bottom floor, and this is just like the smallest area really. We go up, we've just got the same thing on the next floor, plus this little bit here. So pretty good light if you look outside. Yeah, I think it looks pretty good, I'm going to be honest. And upstairs, this room's slightly bigger, so as you can see, this is just sort of like a large square. So I think that looks pretty good. And up at the top here, we've just got a sort of like attic area with, again, quite a lot of room and some pretty nice looking views. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope that I explained how you should go about building this enough. So yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. Let me know if there's anything else you'd want me to build and give a tutorial for, and I will see you in the next video. So, bye.